Welcome into Texans Today. I'm your host, Jeremy Chuggs, and we're going to be breaking down some free agent rumors after a lot of surprising cuts around the NFL today. Teams are cutting off the fat of their roster, trying to get some extra cap space as NFL free agency is creeping up. Just another reason why you got to hit that sub button, because we'll be breaking out every single free agent move the Texans make next week. But I have a quick question, because I was talking with my mom this morning. She actually is a volunteer at the Houston Rodeo. Funny enough, producer Cullen told me that his aunt also worked at the Houston Rodeo. So my quick question to you is, have you ever been to the Houston Rodeo? It is the largest livestock show and rodeo in the United States. So I just want to know, have you been, yes or no? Let me know what concert you saw if you went, and also, what's the best fair food? I was telling Cullen, cheesecake on a stick, good one for me. Cullen said anything fried for him, which can't go wrong with that either. But let me know, have you been to the Houston Rodeo? As one of the first cuts that came through this morning, a very surprising one, maybe not so surprising because of the Russell Wilson cut that the Broncos did just the other day. But Broncos make another move in cutting Justin Simmons, the all-pro safety. It saves them $14.5 million. They desperately needed it after cutting Russell Wilson and incurring a record-setting $85 million dead cap hit. I mean, absolutely insane. So just another fallout from that Russell Wilson deal with the Denver Broncos. Hopefully kind of a little foreshadowing, talking about a couple other Broncos in the coming weeks of guys who could possibly get traded or cut. Maybe a couple guys the Texans could be interested in. But let's talk about Justin Simmons for a second and why it makes sense for the Houston Texans to go after one of the best safeties in the National Football League. The Texans, in my opinion, could use another safety. Jalen Pitre, Jimmy Ward, we've already talked about it on the program before that they both had down years this past season. The Texans safety room, it had so many injuries last year. I think they could use another body, another veteran leadership in that safety room. And who better than Justin Simmons? He has the most interceptions in the NFL, not just for safeties, in the entire National Football League since 2016 with 30 interceptions, 5 straight years as an All-Pro or Pro Bowler. I don't think he'll break the bank necessarily. A little bit older, getting into that, 30s range. I think you could get him on a cheaper deal, which doesn't really matter because the Texans are top 10 in cap space going into free agency this year. And he's a team captain and a culture fit. I think DeMeco Ryans would love this guy. As we look at what he's done the past 4 seasons, absolutely stellar. Last year, 15 games played, had 8 pass breakups, 3 interceptions. He is a ball hawk. He's somebody who can sit back in the back of your defense and really read the quarterback and get turnovers, which we know in the National Football League, most of the time the team that wins the turnover battle has a better chance to win the game. And 2022, 6 interceptions. 2021, 5 interceptions. He is a heat-seeking missile when that ball hits the air. And last season, his coverage stats, 63.9 completion percentage when targeted, 324 yards, 3 touchdowns, 8 pass breakups, 3 interceptions, and an 85.9 QB rating when targeted. The Texans, they are a young team. Obviously, I know Jimmy Ward, he's a little bit of an older safety, and I know a lot of you are on the boat of maybe cutting Jimmy Ward. But I think adding another veteran safety like Justin Simmons could be a good move. This safety draft is a little bit down. I could see the Texans drafting a safety. I like Tyler Nubin. Cameron Kinchens is another good name in my opinion. Also, the kid from Washington State, his name is escaping me, but I know he's another viable option, but not really any top-end, like first-round talent at the safety position. And as we look at the safety room, Jalen Pitre, Jimmy Ward, they're your 1 and 2. Are you depending on them to have a bounce-back year? DeAndre Houston-Carson, he's a good third option for your safety room, but he's not really moving the needle for me. You can add Justin Simmons to this safety room. I think it would be a vast improvement from last season. And free agency, if the Texans do sign Justin Simmons, if they do sign another safety, we'll be breaking it down here on the channel. Free agency begins Monday. And we'll be breaking down, we'll be discussing, analyzing every single move the Texans make. We're currently at 11,505 subscribers. I'm trying to get to 12K subs. I had a couple weeks off. I got married recently. So had a couple less videos kind of going into those sub numbers. But let's get it right back up. Let's hit the ground running as we hit free agency and the draft. Go down and hit that sub button if you want free Texans videos all year long. Now, there's more free agent safeties than just Justin Simmons. There's actually a ton of free agent safeties this season. I mean, it's kind of weird. I was talking to a couple coworkers today. It feels like safety and running back are the two weak spots in the draft, but in free agency, they are abundant. You see the names on screen. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, we've already mentioned on the show. Xavier McKinney, Julian Blackmon, Jordan Poyer, Jeremy Chinn, all good options. Geno Stone had an insane year last year for the Baltimore Ravens. Kevin Byard has had some really good years. Both the Seattle safeties, Jamal Adams, Quandre Diggs, are on the open market, and so is Jordan Poyer, another wily veteran that I think the Texans might have an eye on. The Bills, they cleaned house on Wednesday, and Poyer, he was one of those cap casualties, and I really like Poyer's game and what he could bring to Houston. This last season, 100 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 4 pass breakups, and a forced fumble for Poyer. I really do like him and what he, like his skill set and what he can do on the football field. As we look at his coverage stats, not as good as Justin Simmons, but still decent. 70.3 completion percentage, 262 yards when targeted. Not really any interceptions this season, but the past 2 seasons, he's really been able to get those turnovers. 2022, he had 4 interceptions. 2021, 5 interceptions. Jordan Poyer is another wily veteran who I think the Texans could get on a reasonable contract and really, be able to get one of these guys in the last years of them being a really good player in the NFL and really help catapult this Texans defense and this Texans team. So I've talked about 2 guys so far, Justin Simmons, Jordan Poyer, but if you had to pick one of those in free agency, and you also, I want you to kind of factor in that Justin Simmons will be a little bit more expensive than Jordan Poyer. But if you were there with Nick Caserio, with DeMeco Ryans, who would you choose for the Texans to sign? Type JS for Justin Simmons, JP for Jordan Poyer. I'm really interested on what you have to say in the comment section. For me, I would rather have Simmons. I know he's going to be a little bit more expensive, but I really love his game. And the fact that he can continuously get turnovers year in and year out, that's something you can't teach. He just has a nose for the football. And the fact that he can just continue to get interceptions year after year, that is such a spark. Whenever your team is down, whenever you're in a close game and you can get an interception, that is a huge momentum swing. So if the Texans are able to get Justin Simmons, I think that would be a fantastic move for this defense. Another guy who was cut recently by the Buffalo Bills in their bevy of cuts that they had today was Tre'Davious White. He was released, and the reason why all these guys are being released, by the way, and kind of why I'm talking about the Texans needing to go all in right now, is that Josh Allen's contract is starting to hit. Those cap numbers for Josh Allen are starting to go up. So to counteract that, they have to cut players, cut in other areas. And like I said, C.J. Stroud on a rookie deal, you got to use it while you have it, that cap space, until C.J. Stroud, he's going to have a mega deal whenever his contract is due. But let's talk about Tre'Davious White and what he could add to the team. He only played 4 games last year, but I mean, still 2 pass breakups, 1 interception, 80.6 QB rating when targeted. And that's kind of the story with Tre'Davious White, is his availability. The past 2 seasons, only played 10 games combined. You see before, 2021, 2020 was a really good cornerback. I like Tre'Davious White, and I think that you could get him for pennies on the dollar. And if anybody can bring the best out of a defensive player, out of an older defensive player, I think it could be DeMeco Ryans. And really, we're looking at Derek Stingley Jr. as the CB1 for the Texans going into next season, and he needs his partner in crime. He needs his CB2. And if you can add some guys like Tre'Davious White to kind of get in the mix, because I expect the Texans to draft a cornerback high in this year's draft. I think they might go cornerback, wide receiver, or defensive line, one of those 3 positions in round 1. But even if you do draft a corner in round 1, you still need some more options to kind of test them, battle them out in camp, because how often do rookie cornerbacks really thrive in the NFL? I mean, we think of Sauce Gardner. Derek Stingley's had a really good beginning to his career, but a lot of guys have that tough transition period during their rookie sophomore season. So I would really like the Texans to add a couple more good veteran cornerbacks to this cornerback room during free agency and possibly add a couple guys in the NFL draft. Now, that's all I have for you on today's show. Make sure you hit that sub button for daily Texans videos. My promise to you is go down and hit that sub button. If you don't like it in a week, you can unsubscribe completely free. But let me prove to you why we are the #1 Texans channel on YouTube. And if you want more Texans content on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, follow me at Jeremy Chuggs, giving you daily updates on there. Some funny memes, all my comments throughout the day. Go check it out on Twitter at Jeremy Chuggs. And until next time, have a good day.